Hey everybody, welcome back to Why Not RV. On this week's episode, we're going to go ahead and do some RV water heater maintenance. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to learn more and make less mistakes while RVing. Check us out online at whynotrvusa.com. We're also now on Patreon at patreon.com/whynotrv. And we have an amazing Facebook group that is growing very, very quickly. So come join us on Facebook. It's just Why Not RV under Facebook groups. But I'm going to put a link in the description below for all those websites. We're going to go over two different things today. First thing is the flushing and rinsing of the hot water tank. And the second would be changing the anode rod on the tanks that have them. Now, fortunately, mine does not have an anode rod, but I can still show you exactly what that process looks like, because instead of a little nylon plug like I have, you have an anode rod right there. So let's just get right to it. First thing you need to do is go ahead and turn off your water. Next, and maybe even first, is to make sure your water heater is off. Both my 120 and my 12 volt are already off. Now, if prior to doing this, your water tank has been on for a while and it's nice and hot inside there, you might want to actually go ahead and drain it inside first. Basically, turn off your water heater and then turn on the hot water at the faucet and let it run through until you start feeling cool water come out. Because when we go to drain this thing, that hot water creates a lot of pressure in there, and that's why we have a pressure relief valve. So you don't want to be doing this with an already hot tank. Fortunately for me, mine has already been off. There's no actual hot water in there. So it's just full of regular water. Hasn't been heated yet because, again, it's been off. So next we're going to go ahead and drain it. What I like to do is I first start by taking the pressure relief valve and just opening it a little bit. Let that do its thing for just a second. Just like that is fine. Cut it back off. And now we're going to go ahead and drain it. Now on mine, mine is an aluminum tank, so it does not have an anode rod. Most RV water heaters do have an anode rod. They're not aluminum. But again, if you have an aluminum one, and you just have a little nylon plug down here, it's the same exact thing. Instead of a nylon plug, you'd have an anode rod right here, but it's the exact same nut pattern at the base here. I just use channel locks to get mine out. Some people use sockets. But let's go ahead and get this out and get it drained. So like I said, I just use channel locks on mine. So I'm going to go ahead and get a pair of channel locks and get here. And you just want to be careful with these nylon ones. Obviously, it's nylon, so you can kind of chip away at it if you're not careful enough, because it's a soft material. But if yours is an actual anode rod and it's metal, you're a lot less likely to do that. But just take your time with it. Make sure you don't do anything stupid. Don't let your pliers eat up the nylon plug. And just back this out until you can get it where you can just get it with your hand, which we're almost there. And now we're going to let it drain. In the meantime, while this drains, let's go ahead and get our tank rinser. We're going to go ahead and open this up and get it attached to a hose. If you want to make this drain faster, you can open up your pressure relief valve. Or you can also open up a faucet inside, and again, it's just to let air get into the system so that it can just drain real fast. As you can see the difference. Okay, so the tank is nice and drained. I got my tank rinser onto my hose, and let's test it. That thing shot all the way to the back of the RV. So from where I'm at, that's probably about 30 feet. So it has a lot of pressure that's going through there. Now on my tank, because it's aluminum, most likely there's going to be almost nothing in there. However, if there is little sediment and stuff like that, that's why you get this, to swish things around and create some pressure in there, knock things loose, and try and drain them out. Now with an anode rod tank, a regular standard tank, you're going to have all sorts of stuff in there, because that anode rod only does so much. And also when it's self-sacrificing, it is constantly corroding and degrading inside there. So that's where you get a lot of buildup inside these tanks. So again, with an aluminum tank, probably gonna have much, but let's get our tank rinser in here and see what we can come up with. All I'm doing right now is I have it facing up and I'm trying to blast away everything. I'm gonna just kind of change the angle a little bit, twist it, turn it, and just let it do as much as it can in there. Push it in a little deeper. You're just wanting to flush out as much as you can from inside. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over so it's rinsing out the bottom. And let it drain out a little bit, and then we're going to keep flushing. Now, I'm not sure if you can see from here, but there's actually, here, let's grab a little piece. There's actually some stuff coming out, okay? So, just goes to show you, it does not matter what kind of tank you have, you should be doing this kind of thing. I say annually, that's just me. Once a year is all it's needed. Some people will do this biannually, twice a year, but there's definitely some stuff coming out of this thing. This is all you're doing. Flushing it out, getting everything out of there. On a nice hot Florida day like today, this feels nice against my sandaled toes. Feels good. Now I'm going to do this a couple times just to make sure that I have nothing else coming out. But essentially, what you're doing is, as you're like right now, I'm watching the water come out, and I can see little specks of that same stuff I was picking up and showing you coming out. So I'm going to do it a couple more times until I don't see anything, or as minimal as possible. If I do it 2 or 3 times and there's still little bits coming out, I might call it good. But you know, ideally you want to get as much as possible out of your tank. Just another little tip: if you have a pressure regulator and you see that it drips every once in a while, it could mean that your pressure regulator is going bad and it's time to replace it. It's a pretty simple process. You can just go right to Home Depot and get the exact one that's like the exact type of valve that you have. You just read yours, like mine says it's a 3/4 valve, 150 PSI. So I know that's what I'm going to go try and find at Home Depot. And this literally just unscrews, put some Teflon tape on the new one, and re-screw the new one in. And that's all that would take. Bandits wanting to get out of the fun. You want to play with the water? I think I'm almost about done with this process. I thought I was going to be done, and look at that big piece that just came out. Be careful when you're doing this with the dog. I've created a little mud hole on the other side of the RV, and he's decided to go running in it. So now I got to give a dog a bath as well as my hot water tank a bath. All right, I'm going to call it right there. I think that's pretty good. So now we're going to go ahead, and for me, I'm just going to take my nylon plug, put some new silicone on it, and pop it right back in there. But again, if you have a anode rod, just get yourself a new anode rod. You can order them right on Amazon. I'll drop a link below to some of the more common ones. So a little bit of my tape. Sorry, I was out of frame there. Just a couple wraps around. Now I'm going to go ahead and hand tighten it as much as I can, and then I'll get my channel locks and tighten it all the way back down to where it was at before. That's where you want to be especially careful when you're tightening it down with channel locks and something like that. You can really eat away at the edges. So just be careful when you're tightening that back down. But now that that's tight, I'm going to go ahead and put water back into the system. So let's turn it on. So, and I'm actually going to leave that open, that way I just know when it's completely full, and I can go ahead and turn on the hot water tank and make sure that everything is functioning properly. All right, so now I know my hot water tank is full, and I can go ahead and go back inside and turn it on and test it and all that fun stuff. And also, right now, as this is building its pressure, I can check to make sure that I'm not leaking at all down here at my nylon plug. Looks good. Same thing, if you have an anode rod, make sure that you're not leaking right there, because if right now, if you have a slow single drip, it's only going to get worse with time. Leaks do not ever get better with time. So take care of that now. Turn the water back off, take it back out, retape it, put it back in. Make sure you don't have any drips right there at your plug or your anode rod. That's really it for today. I just wanted to do a quick thing to show you guys some basic RV water maintenance, or water heater maintenance. I know there's a big argument out there. Is it a hot water tank? Is it a water heater? Everyone calls it something a little bit different. Who really cares? I mean, you know, what's the big freaking deal? It's a water heater. That's what it does. It heats water. So anyways, there's your water heater maintenance. Simple. I do it annually. You can do it as much as you want. Some people do it, again, every 6 months or so. But all I do is annually. Thanks for watching our Why Not RV. We'll see you next week. Bye.